Meet John. John has been a resident of Beasley, Hamilton for several years after immigrating from Somali. He came to Canada to start a better life and chose Beasley because he could find an affordable home and there were other people who shared his race and culture. He loved his home, even with its issues. Yesterday, the landlord told him his home would be torn down and new and better homes would take its place. The landlord told John that if he signed certain papers, he would get $2,000 and a newly renovated home. The landlord said he would help him find a new place while the renovations happened. John was currently unemployed due to his disability, and his rent was already being supplemented through a city program, so he signed the paper figuring this was a good deal. But the renovations were stressful, and the landlord said he needed to leave, but he still had nowhere to go. John heard of a meeting at the Beasley Community Center. He was eager to have his voice heard. He was told that people from the local government would be there, as well as other tenants. He didn't have a car and couldn't afford a taxi. There was no bus that would take him there on time. What would be an 8-minute walk for others would take him over an hour, so he left early. The elevator was still broken, so he would have to take the stairs, a difficult task for John. He walked past McLaren Park, turned left on Cannon Street. This was a one-way street, so he had to be very careful. He turned right on Mary Street, also a one-way street. He crossed through Beasley Park to get to the community center. He knew to keep his head down and to just focus on his destination in order to be safe. He found a seat near the back of a very full community center. People were already upset and yelling. "We do our best. We have bylaws we enforce to the best of our abilities. You need to file a complaint." "We have. I've dealt with you people before. Stop giving us lip service." "I've done all the maintenance work in my apartment myself. The landlord does nothing." "I talked to my landlord about my heat not working, and he said I was just not used to the Canadian climate yet." John did not know if this was the place for him to have a voice. What was supposed to make him feel better had now made him feel worse. "I don't want to leave my home. Please don't make me leave," said a woman. John felt the same way she did. He would talk to her after the meeting. After the meeting, he found the woman who was also worried about losing her home. She was part of the Beasley Neighborhood Association, and they would have a meeting soon to talk about next steps. Even though this meeting had taken a lot out of him, John wanted to attend, especially since it was in his apartment building and would be hosted by this kind woman named Shanzo. John knocked on the door of Shanzo's apartment. There were several kind faces smiling at him. "Someone needs to talk to Greenwind. They might own the buildings, but they don't own us. We need more affordable family-size units. We need to get our MPP to talk to Greenwind and come to an agreement. Can we trust him? The residents have already been given too many failed promises. We have no choice." An agreement was reached between Greenwind, several government officials, and the Beasley Neighborhood Association to ensure that residents could stay in their homes. But renovations were stressful. Many tenants left their homes, including Shanzo, and what once felt like a village now felt lonely. John's home started to look better, but some problems still existed. And new people were moving in, white, young, not much in common. John's rent still went up, which made it too difficult for him to stay in his home, even with subsidy. All around him, apartments were being torn down and rebuilt, houses too. There were new businesses, some of which sold cups of coffees that cost more than a day's worth of food for John. He felt safer on the streets, the parks were cleaner, the alleyways once littered with trash were now regularly cleaned by community groups, and beautiful murals were painted in them. Issues related to drugs and crime were being tackled by services. John is moving to a new city soon, to a home he can afford. Hamilton has become too expensive for him. He told himself to be excited about the new adventure that lay ahead.